let me start with congrats on Midnight Madness and winning, which is crazy. When you think about where the film started and everything about this, it's crazy to win that category.
We agree.
And we're thrilled.
So before I jump, I have a ton of questions, but before I get into the film, I have to ask you an individual question. What do I need to pay to see the Larry David documentary?
A lot of money. Yeah, you may have to wait a few years.
Yes, whenever it's available. Or
I would love people to see it. Believe me, I'm not the one stopping people from seeing it.
Oh, I know.
I am. I've been the one this whole time.
Josh has decided he doesn't want the movie to come
I said, wait until this movie's out, Larry.
So one of the things I actually want to touch on is I respect so much that A24 has made a deal to make it so you guys can promote this. Can you sort of talk about the fact that small company makes deal, other companies, what the fuck?
I mean, you sort of said it right there, which is I think what they're trying to show with these interim agreements is that, of course, they're like an independent company that's not affiliated with all the struck companies that are negotiating against us. But furthermore, they have to sign a contract that meets all the union's wishes, which feels like $1 trillion tech company would be able to do. Mm-hmm. So we just feel very lucky to be here, period, for all those reasons. Right?
Yeah, we're surprised that paradigm of A24 isn't being applied to every other studio.
Right.
It was like that would be the end of the strike. And they are able to do it. They're able to be successful and be able to make cool stuff and be able to sign these contracts also. So if they could do it, why can't everybody else do it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Right? Completely. And I have a question for you. What is the secret to playing God?
Oh, the secret to playing God is finding the right register to deliver the message. Because I think about it, and I think seeing God up top at the beginning of the movie keys the audience into the fact that he is the delivery system for the story. This must be an important narrative if God is kind of relaying it to you, Yeah. So I think that's it, and it makes sense that he is in this movie, and it pays off in the end. So
100%.
And very Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
Narrator.
You want a fun narrator popping in there.
Right.
One of the things about this film is that, and I wrote it, it's a musical, it's a comedy, it's science fiction, and it's horror.
You get it.
And it's funny, and it has the sewer boys.
Yeah.
It has everything. Can you sort of talk about the blending of everything together? Because it's very hard to pull something like this off.
Yeah. A funny story is when we were first meeting with A24 about this, Aaron and I, as a joke, were we wanted to be the Hereditary of comedies, and they were like, oh yeah. We were like, okay. So I do think you're right. It's got a lot of things going on in it.
It's just good old-fashioned maximalism. There's a lot going on, and I think people can handle a lot. Audiences they don't need it to just be one thing. They can handle many things coming at them.
The original review was 40 minutes or something. Yeah. So, but it lent itself. I mean, it was touching on so many interesting issues that it almost was naturally able to grow into the story that it became, which is touching on all those different genres and synthesizing them into a coherent whole.
I also think because it started as a two-man show that was a half hour that we would do in the basement of a grocery store, it was like a runaway train because we were just compressing the Parent Trap and blowing it out. So I felt like that energy and DNA was always there. So even when it got bigger, it was okay, well now it can push even more directions.
And it's always felt weirdly organic also. We never felt with all these crazy elements that we were contriving or shoving things in or just getting it in for shock value. Everything kind of made sense in our internal logic.
They have to go into the sewer.
You're right.
That's Chekhov's gun. When you meet a sewer boy in Act 1, you know they're going to go into the sewer in Act 3.
I cannot express to you how much I enjoyed the sewer boys and how what the fuck, everything about that.
Us too, they were an honor to work with. We auditioned them. We auditioned a lot of people. They're sort of discoveries.
We're happy for them.
I'm glad to give my little guys a break.
And it wasn't tokenism. It was
absolutely not.
Sewer boys playing sewer boys is not tokenism.
It was representation. Because we read a lot of actors for it. They didn't bring the authenticity that Backpack and Whisper did.
So I love talking about the editing process because it's where it all comes together. So I'm curious, how did the film possibly change in the editing room in ways you didn't expect going in?
Well, first of all, because we had a 20-day schedule, even though we improvised a lot and we were very, very loose within that 20-day schedule, I purposely did not have a lot of extra coverage or extra footage. I mean, I didn't want that. I wanted the movie to be the movie. And so the movie was the movie from almost the very beginning. Then you go through an editing process where you're getting notes, people have thoughts, some things you try out and experiment with. I, again, tried to follow my instinct through that entire process and feel the movie, feel what's satisfying to me as an audience member. I'm watching it as an audience member too. And so those things just kind of fell together properly. Nothing was really planned in advance. It's like, let's capture the zeitgeist of the moment and see what we have.
I mean, he's right. There's like no cut scenes because we didn't have time to shoot any other scenes.
Every scene's in the movie.
But also it was so fun to then, when we finally saw it back, to see that you and Al Levine, the editor, did all this cool like split screen mod stuff. Like there's a lot of like fun poppy things that happen in the edit that I think like serve the movie that I never pictured.
The footage of New York City, I really love all of that.
That stuff was all, I thought about those kind of things beforehand because I thought that would be fun. I was just thinking, what would be fun in this movie? What would keep you engaged? And all these kind of different elements are those things.
And keeping the blemishes, like there's a moment where I break, there's a moment where someone doesn't hit a mark and the camera has to pull over to them. There's just like a lot of that little stuff too that's fun.
I did enjoy the bloopers during the credits, and I'm just curious, when you're doing something like that, do you have to get everyone's permission or to show it, or is it sort of just like, you shot it?
God, don't tell Nathan.
Don't make us pull it.
I think you do need permission, possibly, but permission's something
that's someone else's job.
I'm used to ignoring.
So one of the things, there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to soon to be fans of the movie. What do you think would surprise them to learn about the actual making of the film?
I mean, the 20 days is pretty wild that it was shot in 20 days. What else would surprise? We sang a lot of it live.
We sang a lot of it live, and a lot of it sort of like 2 takes because there was no more time. Also, that it was, maybe this isn't surprising, but it was just like such a fun, joyful summer camp feeling. Because I know we're being a little like naughty and edgy, but like the vibes were always just, everybody was doing it from a place of silliness and joy. So it was like a very fun set.
Yeah, it was.
I think when you see the movie, you see the experience that we had making it. You feel the enthusiasm, the craziness, the excitement of what we were doing. And I wanted that movie to feel the way we felt we were shooting it and the way they felt when they were doing the play in the first place.
Yeah, and for as offensive as the movie is, I mean, the experience of it was so wholesome. It was just all showing up and being great, showing up on time and being considerate.
Let's put on a show, but with a vagina.
For the two of you, I am very curious, what was it like finding out that he was interested to direct? Because it's a big deal to get him on the project.
Absolutely.
It was
shocking.
Yeah, and we were so scared about the director, and we're just like, because it's such an interesting, specific project, and we were really, really terrified. And then we heard Larry Charles, we were like, oh my God, we were thrilled.
Yeah. And then the second we all met, it just felt very same brain, where we were like, oh, Larry fully understands the vision, and Larry gets the process and was so like welcoming and inclusive of us as collaborators. So just like, I don't know, it was a joy from moment one.
I was thrilled too. I was incredibly thrilled that this was all going to come together. It was exciting. It was an exciting, fun experience, really one of a kind.
I appreciate A24 for making this, because anything that pushes boundaries, thumbs fucking up. On that note, have a fantastic day.
Thank you.